That's wild. All right, and we're live with another episode of Alive with Joey. I'm super stoked. Calen, man, thank you for coming on. Kind of short notice, too.
Yeah, man. Well, we've been trying to make this work
Yeah,
for quite some time. So
yeah.
as much as it was short notice, it was a long time coming.
Man, it's a story. It's so true. Well, thanks, man. We'll wait till a few people jump on.
Yeah.
What do we got here? Get my comments on. There we go. Are you on a laptop or you're on a laptop right now? Can you
I'm on a desktop,
you're
but
on
I
a
am on a
desktop?
laptop. Yeah.
Can you see the comments section here on the
Live
right
viewer
hand
comments
side?
show up on. Yeah, I can.
Okay, okay, cool. I just want to make sure. Yeah, we'll wait a few minutes till we kind of jump into the juicy stuff and the good stuff. But
Yeah. No problem.
and what were we just saying? Oh yeah, the forcing, the forcing
Yeah.
it. Like, are you super strict on your routine? Like, is your morning like every day?
I
This is what I'm doing, or how
I
does
have
that
a set.
look?
Yeah, I have like a set amount of things that I really try to focus on. So if I like everything doesn't take me my entire morning, right? If I like want to start my work at like 7 o'clock or something and I
Yeah,
have like a 15-minute travel time, I'll wake up at 5 every single day, but
yeah,
my morning routine stuff can take me an hour. And I'll have like 30 to 45 minutes of just like whatever time.
right,
So I try to dial down on specific things like breakfast, huge thing,
right,
saves me money, time. I'm nutrition, like
right.
really good.
Yeah,
And then it's like my reading. I try to meditate. What else do I do? That's basically it. Yeah, breakfast, more. Yeah, breakfast, meditate, read. Uh, oh, and I try to do a little bit of a workout. If that's
yeah,
push-ups, if that's my barbell, if that's something like just getting my body moving.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, out,
Is
out of
that
those four things, that's what I focus on.
is that important for you? Like moving your body first thing in the morning? Do you find that really helps to get the juices flowing? Like,
Momentum,
yeah,
momentum rolling, right? It's like it's all about that. I don't know, if I wake up super late and I don't get my breakfast in, I'm stopping at Tim Hortons to get my breakfast,
yeah,
and I'm getting to work and I'm like, it's just like I'm rushed, the energy's not there,
yeah,
I'm irritated, I'm distracted. But if I have that morning space to like move slow, get all my shit done, move to work, like, and get that moving going. It's like the energy's there, the momentum's there. It's just like my day's in motion now.
yeah,
It's not a burden.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So like with that, like say you're doing some stretching or you're doing some push-ups, you're doing some pull-ups, whatever you're doing in the morning. Does that like do you follow up like with a workout in the evening? Like do you have other
Yeah.
exercise that yeah, so you're going to lift, you're going to do other stuff?
Well, so I don't really go to the gym. I'll do calisthenics at home.
Yeah.
But what I have been doing recently and what I did all last month, I did a 30-day ruck challenge.
Like
And rucking is where you throw
the
weight on your
rucksack?
back.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
like a
Yeah.
rucksack,
Yeah.
and you just do a distance basically. So I was going for a minimum of 2.5 miles, which works roughly out to
Ooh.
4.3 kilometers.
Yeah.
And I got up to 73 pounds.
Oh,
And
damn.
so I did that 30 days straight. And man, it taught me a lot. Like it like
Yeah.
not only the physical capabilities that I didn't even know I had,
Yeah.
but the mental game, man.
Well, I think that's the biggest part right there.
Like you get home from work and you're like, I'm exhausted.
Fuck
I don't want to
yeah,
do
dude.
this. I don't want to go to the gym. Like I had a rough day. I had to deal with so much
Yeah.
shit. And now you're like, I got to put on this sack and go walk 4.3 kilometers. Like, damn, dude, you don't want to do that.
No.
Like
No.
that's the last thing you're thinking about. You're thinking about food, couch, Netflix,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
whatever is going to take this day away from me kind of thing. Right.
So you went 30 days doing that?
Yeah, dude. I did.
Didn't
Well, I
didn't
did
miss a day?
32. I did
Oof.
32 days. Didn't
Yeah.
miss a day. I was
Wow.
out there at like 9:30 at night, as late as 10 o'clock to get in my ruck.
But
Yeah.
the feeling when you get it in though.
Yeah.
Like especially on
It's
those days where you don't want to do it.
man, it's like that small win, like
Yeah.
even if you had a shit day, when you
Yeah.
get back from that ruck, it's like I made that day my bitch. Like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
I won the day. It's like a complete 180. It's like I got it.
It doesn't,
Yeah.
yeah, like it doesn't matter how shit work was, how
Yeah.
bad you fell into your even like whatever. maybe bad mental state, whatever, it doesn't matter how it went, you have the ability at the end of the day to absolutely bitch slap it.
Yeah. You have the ability and the mental fortitude to
Yeah.
flip that if you wanted to, but
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Most
Dude,
people don't
I
want it.
get it. I get it. So, Colin, man, so we have a few people watching now.
Yeah.
Let's hear who you are. Give us a little bit of rundown on that, and then we'll kind of jump into it.
Who am I?
Yeah,
That's a good
who are
question.
you?
Man, I don't know exactly where to start with who I am, but I think most people like to hear generally where I came from and
Sure.
where I am now. And I think that's a good place to start is like,
Sure.
so where I came from wasn't the best of places. And I feel like a lot of that kind of formed me into who I am today. So as much as it does sound like a sad story or, you know, things wrong and so on, I've made peace with it.
Yeah.
I've accepted it, and I'm really happy with who I am today. So don't feel empathetic. Disclaimer.
Well, good luck. Good luck
but,
with my audience, because
yeah, well,
But
yeah,
let's hear it,
fair
man.
enough.
Like I know you told me a little bit about it, and I was not shocked, but I was like, wow. I mean, you went through it. So let's just hear from you,
Yeah,
like kind of from the beginning, man. Give us your
cool.
story.
Well, born St. Anne's, Manitoba. Crazy
Can
to
I
think about
can
that
I
too.
stop that for a second? I got to
You bet.
jump right into that. So Colin and I jump on a call, what, a week, not even a week ago, a few days ago,
Yeah,
and I'm just kind of asking him some questions, and I'm like, so you from the Okanagan? So he's in the same valley as I am in BC. He's like 35-40 minutes from where I am, and I'm like, dude, like, you're born and raised? He's like, well, no, I was born in Manitoba. And I'm like, wait a minute. Like, I didn't say anything at the time. He's like, yeah, I was born in St. Anne. I was from St. Anne, Manitoba. Both my kids were born in St. Anne, Manitoba, at St. Anne Hospital. And you'd think like, oh, St. Anne must be a huge center, like this huge town. No, there's what, like, I don't know, maybe there's 1,500 people in this town. I don't
yeah,
even know.
tiny. Yeah,
And there's a tiny hospital there. And both my kids were born where you kind of were born, and kind of raised until you were how old? 3 or 4?
Three. Yeah.
But the synchronicity there was way too much for me to ignore, and I had to tell people because it's too much, man. But anyway, so there you were,
Crazy.
St. Anne.
Yeah.
So continue.
Yeah, St. Anne's, Manitoba. Moved out to Kelowna when I was 3. We met a gentleman which ended up dating my mom when we moved out back to Kelowna. He was from here, but he was out there for something. I'm not quite sure what. But we ended up moving back here with him. And from 3 to 7, physically abused. She ended up having 2 children with him, and he was really like, as much as he was trying to be a fatherly figure, he didn't understand, I don't think, how to be a father. Like his dad didn't really teach him the skills. And so it was always met with aggression, screaming, yelling, spanking. One traumatic event, or I specifically remember, was bringing in the newspaper. And it was such a small thing. But the way that our deck was shaped, like all the water ran off that corner, and that's where the newspaper was. And I brought in a wet newspaper because that's what it was. Like, it was wet, but it was raining outside. So I don't know if he had thought that I just went thrown in a puddle or something. But anyways, I get inside, was like presented the newspaper, and it was just met with extreme aggression. Like, it was like, not getting into details, but it was just like, I didn't understand why I was in trouble. I didn't understand what the situation, why it was playing out like this. It's just like, you asked me to grab something for you. I got it for you. And now you're like laying into me. Like, I don't understand.
How old were you there?
Roughly. I don't know, probably 5 or 6, like somewhere in there.
It's
like,
it's fucking I'm tearing up, dude. Just like, because I know how, like, those moments, you think, on the grand scheme of things, you think about those moments and why is that such a big moment in my life? But you clearly remember that moment.
Oh yeah. Like,
clearly
emotion. Yeah. Like I recall everything, feel it, everything. Yeah. it's crazy because like for him that could have just been a very minute detail in his life,
Sure.
but it drastically changed my perception of that situation, right? And it stuck with me to this day, like however long ago. Like anyways. So
Yeah.
yeah, we had a few of those scenarios happen, and then so me, my mom, and my sister, we tried to run away. We ended up living in a mother's shelter or a woman's shelter for a bit,
Yeah.
and then she couldn't take care of us and live in the women's shelter. I'm not quite sure what was happening there, so we had
Yeah.
actually ended up in a family from the church, which we were only supposed to be placed in for a couple weeks. And then after, I think it was like a 3 or 4 month period, this family was financially supporting us or supporting me. Me and my sister got split. So I was
Right.
living in one house, she was living in another. And
So do you know
they
why they
were,
did, like, was there a reason why? Because I just want to touch on that. Like, I hear a
yeah,
lot about that splitting of, I don't know, maybe back in the day more so than now. I don't know how it is now, but so through the shelter, did you find this family
no, through the
or
church.
through the church? So
Yeah.
do you know why they would, it was just you and your
Well,
sister?
yeah, it's just me and my sister, but the problem is that the families weren't able to support, like didn't have the room to support
Ah, okay.
2 kids.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, and later, like, so after that happened, I'm not 100% sure what was happening there. We weren't in contact with our mom. We didn't have a way to contact her, call her, see her, or anything. So we didn't know what was going on there. We were going to school, coming back. Life was normal with a completely foreign family, but like we were trying to make things work and be, you take on like a new kind of perspective because you're not in your house anymore. You're in somebody else's.
Right.
So it's like you're a guest, but you've been there for 3, 4 months. So it's like this weird line of like, do I live here? Am I, a child of these parents now, or am I just like floating around as a guest? So after that, they couldn't take care of us anymore. So we actually ended up getting put back together with another family that could,
Right.
in the church. And after, oh gosh, I don't know how long, probably couple of years at least, we ended up my sister wasn't getting along with him or with the foster dad
Right.
because they actually ended up getting foster training so that they could become foster parents, so they could actually get the financial support from the government to support us.
Right.
I actually ended up in the newspaper with my mom because she showed up at some point during this transition, and it was like struggling mom in the Okanogans, something. So we were in the paper, me, my sister, and my mom, picture everything. An article basically stating that we couldn't find a house, couldn't be supported, so on and so forth. We ended up getting moved from foster home to foster home. One of them, distinctly remember me, my sister, and 2 other kids, 4 kids in this house.
All
Girls,
foster kids?
yeah,
Okay.
all foster kids, 4
Yeah.
kids. She had us cook, she had us clean, she had us maintain the house, the landscaping, everything. And me and my sister tried to run away a few times back to our mom, but got placed back in foster care because my mom didn't have a home. She didn't have a place for us to live. She was bouncing couch to couch. I'm not 100% sure, but she was with her friend at the time that we ran away. We got placed back in that house. Then we got placed in another house where we were living on a ranch. My sister developed really bad eating habits because they restricted our food. They hit us with backs and knives if we had bad the bad table etiquette. There it is.
Right.
So we had a lot of interesting things happen there. But I think the thing to note from that foster home was, we wake up in the morning, we take the horses out to the field, we come back, go to school, have our breakfast, go to school, come back. If we didn't have homework, we were out in the fields picking up shit, come back in, have dinner, go back out, bring the horses in from the field. That was our daily life. Like we were like low key laborers on the farm.
Right. And so
and it was
there's a few houses there? Like, is this the same one that made you cook and clean, or is this a different?
No, different house.
It's a different house. So you're like basically
different school, different elementary school, different parents. Yeah. different environment, everything. Yeah.
And how old were you at this time, roughly?
Let's go. You know what? It was probably, I would say 9 or 10, maybe even
Ooh,
11. Because after that house, I actually tried to move back in with my mom,
yeah.
and we lived in a Soyuz
Yep.
because she had a place out there. It was Road 22, direct center between a Soyuz and Oliver. So
Right.
it's not like there was anybody
Right.
within at least 700 meters kind of idea.
Right.
Lived in a creepy ass house, like crystal handles built in the 50s, like dungeon, no lights down there, the fire like pit going down into the underneath the house,
Yeah.
like just creepy ass shit.
Yeah.
She didn't have a vehicle, so they'd hitchhike in and out of town using me as a pawn to get into a vehicle.
Wow.
And so she had left to go into town to grab something. I don't know what it was with her boyfriend. And then I had such a hard time because I was in this house all alone, and I didn't know. She said she would be back before dark or after dinner or whatever, and I don't know how late it was because I was laying on the couch staring at a window, and I couldn't move because I was staring at this window, and then like the shades were broken apart,
Right.
and all I could think about is like, no matter how loud I scream, nobody can help me. And I was just sitting there, like hiding under the blankets, like just staring, like through the tiniest little crack, just staring at this window because I could, and I was like petrified because I didn't know where she was. Is she coming home? Is she okay? Like, am I gonna die tonight? Like, is somebody gonna come through that window? Like, just absolutely terrified. And it, I don't know, man. I had a hard time with that one for a while because I just like I couldn't. And she came home, I think at 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was just sobbing because
Well,
I didn't
yeah.
know. Like I didn't know if she was coming home, if she was okay, if she was alive. Like there was nobody to help, like nothing. So I was like, and just sitting in, yeah. So we ended up figuring out the guy that she was dating at that time was shooting up in the garage.
Wow.
We ended up moving out back into Kelowna, where my sister tried to move back in with us as well. I would have been
What's
in middle school,
what's
grades
the
like
age?
7 or
What's
8.
the age gap between you and your
2
sister?
years.
Okay, so
2
she's
years.
older.
And yeah, she's older, and she's got a kid. She's married. She lives in
Yep.
Edmonton.
Okay.
And to lay this out briefly, so there's me, my sister. I have another sister named Felicia. I have another brother named Jeremiah. I have another brother named Hunter and Isaac. So I have 6 siblings. Well, 6 including me.
Sure.
But my sister Felicia and my brother Jeremiah are both adopted from my family at birth, and both live in Manitoba.
Okay.
And yeah, she had my sister when she was 14, me when she was 16, my other sister and brother, I think like 17 to 19, somewhere in there. And then my other brother when she was 24, my other brother when she was 25 or 6.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so we moved back into Kelowna. She had multiple boyfriends. She'd be away from the house a couple weeks at a time. We wouldn't see her maybe a month or 2 at a time, at some points. And well, like she would come home, but maybe while we were at school, I don't know, but like we wouldn't see her, and then she'd pop up randomly and be there for a couple days or whatever, and then be gone again for a couple weeks, like just in and out. Yeah.
What would the communication be like? Like would it just be like, "Hey, I'm here," and then not say anything and be gone again, or like?
It was interesting. It was like, so at some points, like she'd come in and like lay the law down, and it was like, no R-rated movies, PG-13. We weren't allowed to watch Care Bears or anything because there's
Right.
too much magic and like all
Right.
this stuff. And then
Right.
next thing I know, she's dating another guy, and it's like, here's R-rated movies. We're watching this. We're watching that. It was just like all over the place. Like never really like one specific thing. Like it was, yeah. And the communication, we'll get into that, but I think
Sure.
the hardest, one of the things that I was struggling with going through middle school during that time was like, as a kid, you get like an identity. right? You get like some sort of structure as to who you are meant to be,
Yeah.
right? Based on your parents' values,
Sure.
their boundaries, their religion,
Sure.
you get that basis. Well, it's
Yep.
like I didn't have that,
Yeah.
right? Like I had a very like kind of like a little piece of everybody, all my foster parents, and then a little bit of my mom. I didn't know my dad at all. So it was like I had a little bit of everything. And it wasn't I couldn't figure out who I was. I didn't have
So
an identity. I didn't have a character. Like
yeah.
I was trying to figure out all of this and male hormones. That's
Right.
frustrating as hell. Like it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like really attracted to women, but like I don't know who this dude is, so I
Right.
don't know how this exchange is going to happen,
Right.
you know. So it was definitely challenging because I wanted to be a part of things. I wanted to be accepted. I wanted to be a part of the group. I wanted to be able to communicate, but I was awkward as shit because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know how to communicate. I didn't know how to have a full conversation. I'd talk with buddies and game out with friends and stuff, but like when you're trying to talk to a girl, I think every guy has that issue. Talk
Yeah.
to a girl or meet new friends or stand in a group of people. I was
Yeah.
fine one-on-one, but like 2-3 people, I'm silent because like I didn't know, like, am I standing right?
Right.
Is my clothes too bunched up? Like were we crossing arms? Like what
Right.
we and everything. Like I was just like I didn't know. Like I couldn't be comfortable with who I was because I didn't know who that was. Right?
So
Like
would
you
you,
just
did you find yourself like, just because I know we talked a little bit about this, like
yeah.
morphing into different people everywhere you went?
Yeah. That was like more like grade 10, grade 11 ish.
Okay.
So after this whole scenario happened with my mom, dating multiple boyfriends and one of her boyfriends ended up kicking in the front door because she kicked him out because of some altercation.
Sure.
And, one of the ugliest, I think memories I have of that whole thing was like, I, uh, woke up to them just going at it, door open, everything. And just like the environment, like the sound, everything, like I was just like, I need out now.
So it wasn't just
I
that happening; it was everything. Like,
Yeah, like the environment, like
right.
and I was just like, I need out of here. Like I can't do this. Like I literally like put something in front of my door, had my shoes in my hand, and was ready to like pop out the window. And I don't know why, but I couldn't. Like I just like couldn't get out that window. Um, yeah, it was yeah. And so from there, I ended up I ended up moving in with a buddy, which was actually the original place that I had gone when me and my sister got placed together in that church family.
Oh, really? So you went
Uh,
back to this
so I
place?
went back to them
That's cool.
because I had like he was my brother. Like he was like,
Right.
we built a relationship over those few years that I was there, and I'd never really lost that relationship, but we lost communication. And then when I moved back to Kelowna, we regained that relationship because I knew who he was. Like we'd maybe lost each other for 2 or 3 years. I think it was 3 or 4 years. But when I saw him again, it was just right where we left off, kind of thing, right? And so I ended up moving back with him. And it was like a couple months go by, and my mom's calling, hey, have you seen him? Like, I haven't seen him around in a while. And it's like, how do you say, like, yeah, he's been here for 3 months. Like,
3 months. Yeah.
where have you been? Like, what's been going on, kind of thing. Right.
Right.
And so I ended up staying there. One, because we got evicted, because I was actually sleeping underneath the stairs at one of our place because my sister
Really.
had one room, my mom had the other, and there was no other room for me. So I had a nice little single bed set up underneath the stairs.
Right.
And that was my room. Um, and the landlord found out because I played with the hot water tank, and I guess he didn't like that. So he came down to adjust it, seen the setup, and evicted us. But yeah, so I ended up staying with them, and you know what? They were super fantastic. The problem was definitely with the foster dad. Had a lot of issues with the way that he communicated, with not only with his wife but with his kids.
Right.
Time spent with his kids, and the way I want to say like demonized me. He thought I was the worst influence on his kids.
Right.
And yet I was straight edge, um, celibate, like virgin, never had
Right.
sex, none of that. Like, and yet his kid had done all of it.
Right.
And it was like, how do you,
Wow.
like and so I played along with it because you know what? I couldn't beat it. You know what I mean? So
Right.
like my buddies would go out, they drink 40s, 2 6s. I put
Right.
them on my window case. I put them up on my shelf because I was like, I don't drink those, but clearly I'm the fucking bad guy. So hell,
Oh,
whatever. I'll play it,
I'll play it and I'll take it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Like it was just like, I can't win. So whatever. Like I'm not, I'm
wow.
not trying to prove myself to you, like kind of
So,
thing. Right.
so what are you there? Like 14, 15?
Yeah. It would have been like grade 9, grade 10, grade
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
11. Yeah.
Okay.
And so during this living with them, they ended up getting divorced. I don't think it was, I think they had their own stuff. But
Yeah, they
a
did.
lot of the underlying things, some of the things that I had to experience in that place definitely stuck with me. And, I try to only point out specific scenarios because that's where my trauma is, you
Sure.
know, like there were a lot of good stuff. We went to Disneyland, which was amazing, by the
Right.
way. But and they were all great. Like there was really good experiences in there. The reason I bring up the trauma though is because it's what's changed me. It's
Sure.
what's brought me perspective, and it's what I've like processed and grown from. And so in saying that, like there was a scenario where Angel is her name. My foster mom left to go down to the States to visit family, and she was gone for a couple days. And he had slid a note underneath my door before he left from work, and it was like, "I don't feel comfortable with you staying here. You can go find another place to stay while she's away." And it was like I'd been living there for 2 years by that point,
Oh,
like
wow.
long time, but it was just like he did not feel comfortable with me living there at that point. And I was like, and so I brought it down to my brother, Bryce, and gave it to him. And I was like, here, what do you think of this? And he's just like, F that, man. Like, let's go. Like we both packed our bags and we went to our buddy's place.
Oh, wow.
Like
Okay.
we both just left.
Yeah.
And I don't know how long we ended up staying there for, but she came back, a bunch of stuff happened. He ended up moving downstairs. Like it just kind of steamrolled after that.
Right.
Like it was just one thing after another. And I think they tried to make things work, but it didn't. And then so on and so on. Right. So, yeah. And it's interesting because it's like in that perspective, while I was going through that, it's like I was seeing a man that I didn't want to be. The way that he was communicating with his wife,
Yeah.
the way that
Yeah.
he was spending time with his
Yeah.
kids, like all these things is like, I don't want to be that person, so I did gain a lot from that because it was like, I had that awareness and that a little bit to understand that it was like, I don't want to be that person. But also during that transition, if I hung out with somebody too long, 2 weeks, I was talking like them. I was walking like them. I was talking to my foster mom like them. And not only was it inappropriate, but it was also like unhealthy, right?
Right.
Like I was so volatile. I didn't understand at all like who I was because I was becoming other people if I hung out with them too long.
Man,
It's
same.
like power of association at a
Same, dude.
full extreme,
Yeah.
and I was like, I caught myself a few times, um, and it was like I couldn't understand it, and I got depressed. I got super frustrated with not only not feeling accepted, but living in a house where it was like I was the bad guy, and I didn't feel like I was wanted. So I was always in my room, like that was my safe place.
Right.
And so I was like, yeah, I was dealing with a lot of depression there. Uh, you know, hardcore pain in the chest, just really struggling to understand not only the emotion, but what I was going through. Cause I was like, am I having acceptance issues? Am I having abandonment issues? Cause like, I don't know my dad, my mom's,
And
gone
at,
and
at
she's
that
tried to
age
take
too,
her
man.
life and all this stuff. Like I just, you know,
So tell me about that. Like I know you said your mom tried to take her life. What
yeah.
time? Like how old were you when
So
that?
that was back when I was trying to live with her. I think my sister had left and it was just me and her, and she was out somewhere else. I'm not entirely sure how that night played out. But I know she ended up in the hospital. She had, full bandages up her arm. The glimpse of, or the kind of like the only information that I really concluded off of that was like, she went to a friend's place in the bathroom, tried to take her life, and her friend found her, and they ended up, getting her to the hospital, getting her treatment, 911, ambulance, all that stuff. But I mean, from my standpoint, from my point of view, it was like, how can you, like, I loved her so much. Like, I tried to pour anything and everything I can to help her, because I saw her struggling too. Like, man, we'd be playing Monopoly and like she'd be going out because she didn't have money, and I'd be crying, like giving her money, like, here, take this. Like, I want you to keep going, like, kind of thing, right? Like, I don't want you to have to struggle.
Right.
Like, and then to see her like want to leave, like take her out of my life. And it was just like, I was just like so lost. Like, I was like, how do you like take,
Right.
whew.
It's all right, man.
How do you like muster up that and just want to leave? Like, fuck. Shit.
You're good, bro. Take your time. Take your time, brother.
Definitely haven't dived that deep in there before.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah, so like full, I don't know, abandonment issues.
Yeah.
So that one, right? Like,
Yeah.
like you care and love for somebody so much, and they just want to take that away from you. It's like, how can you do that to somebody, especially for somebody that's like wanting to, make the best for you and do what's best for you. And then it's like, yeah. So, that one sucked.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. So I didn't understand, not even close to what I was going through, or like what she was going through, and
Right.
how she was able to support us or anything like that. So it's like, looking back on it, it's like, yeah, she had her own shit. She was going through a lot of stuff, but like, what was she, like, bipolar? Like, what was it
Right.
that was going on? Like, trying to understand it more so that I could figure it out. Cause it was like, just as a kid, like, you don't understand the world, not even knowing who you are, or like, like, I had such a big heart, and I still do. Like, it's really bit me in the ass in high school, coming out of high school, like being a Mr. Nice Guy, like always saying yes, like, I'll help you, I'll help this, I'll help that. And it definitely took its toll. Like, you are constantly pouring into other people's cups, and yours is empty already.
Yeah, man.
But somehow it's like every last drop, you're just like,
every last drop.
Here, like, just take it, and just like, and I don't know, my own, like, my kind of analysis of that was like, I just didn't want to lose anybody. So it was like, I was just constantly like, just don't leave, like, here, like, just whatever I can give, like, just take it, like, just. And so, that chasing acceptance. Yeah. So it definitely took its toll.
Yeah, bro.
See, but yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. I know that's heavy as fuck. And I can't say I can relate. I can't say I understand. But there's parts of that I relate to, and it's that morphing into others for acceptance was something that I look back on it as my whole fucking life, and there's some stuff that surfaced for me over the last little while that I had no idea about, and I won't get into detail, but it all makes sense now.
Yeah. It's weird how that happens too.
Yeah, man.
Like, you start digging deep. Like, I didn't even know, talking about this with you today, how much of it was still in me.
Yeah.
Like, you're this, like, just talking to this is like, I don't know. It's never, I've never talked about it this way. I've never dug into it that deep. And I think it's because I was so scared of
Oh yeah,
what it was
man.
going to bring up.
That's fucking
But
scary.
yeah, we got there.
Yeah, dude. Well, you know what? This is what I always envisioned when I said I was going to do this is to provide a space that, you know, whoever came on felt safe enough to go deeper and be vulnerable and open, because you and I talked about the power of that
Yeah.
in our stories. And there's a lot of people online that say that, you know, people don't give a shit about your story. People don't give a fuck. Well, that's bullshit, because the right
Yeah.
people need to hear it. And
Yeah.
I know, you know, as people listen to this and listen to your story and what you've been through and what I've been through, and everyone that comes on, there's value there. There's power
Yeah.
there in it. And if that cracks someone open enough to be able to want to share their story or go seek help or talk
Yeah.
about it for the first fucking time,
Yeah.
it's a win.
Absolutely.
Right, dude? So, yeah, morphing into others, man. I always funny because my whole through middle school, high school, and I always wondered, like, man, I always got along with everybody, and that's not a bad thing. Like, I still think I'm a pretty lovable guy, and I still get along with all like walks of life. Like, but there's part of me that would always go, okay, well, I want to be accepted, and in school, like, I want to be a part of the nerds. I want to be part of the jocks, and I want to be part of. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I just, the different groups of people in high school. I would love every one of them, but I would try my best to just say something or be or move a certain way to be like, I can be this, or I can be smart enough to be with these guys, or I can be good enough at sports to be with these guys, and I could say the right things about girls to be with these guys.
Yeah.
Like some of the shit you'd say and then some of the stuff and then I remember saying some stupid jokes or saying something to get a laugh and being like, yeah, and getting that dopamine hit of the laugh and then leaving going, I didn't mean any of that.
Yeah. Not
That's not
only
me.
that, but it's like it goes against your morals or like your identity.
Yeah.
And you're just like, you're doing that to be accepted. And it's like, for what?
For
right?
what?
Like you're going against your own self to seek that, and that dopamine, it is addicting.
Oh,
like it's
fuck,
so
dude.
addicting. It's like when people are laughing at your jokes or like laughing at shit you say, but you're talking shit about somebody else or
Oh,
like
yeah.
against your morals
Oh,
and
yeah.
values and stuff to gain that. It's like
Oh, yeah.
you're out of alignment.
Oh,
Like,
100%. But and to see what you've went through so young, and then to even have some sort of an awareness at 17, 18, 19, like, I didn't have that. Dude, no idea. Like, probably till I was in my mid to late 20s before I even understood what awareness was. Like, I mean, I felt it. Like, I felt remorse and guilt, and I'd be like, oh, shit. Like, why would I even say something like that? That doesn't at all resonate with who I am. But, yeah, man, it says a lot about you. And
the development, I want to say, though, like, in that, in the development there, one thing that changed, I think, everything in my head, my mindset, my emotion, everything was Earl Nightingale, when he said, you become what you think about.
Yeah.
And it's the strangest secret on YouTube. I mean, anybody can look it up. It's like a 30-minute video, but I've listened to that video, like, I don't know, probably 10, 15 times a month, just to like understand how that actually worked in my life. Like somebody can tell you something, somebody could give you the key to the biggest door, like your life. Like they could just give you the key, but until you understand what that key is for and how it plays a role in your life,
it doesn't matter.
You don't understand.
No, I talk about this a lot. It's like, I could have a little notepad and the 5 rules that will change your life, give you all the abundance, the love,
literally
everything.
If
you're not ready for that information, it does not
won't serve you.
Nothing.
It won't serve you. Yeah. it like almost sucks because you're like, I want to help you,
Of
but
course.
everybody's on their own path. Everybody's on
Yeah.
their own journey. Everybody's in their own separate space, right? And it's like you gotta find out where that is and meet them there and be like, okay, like here's the next step.
Yeah.
Here's the next step. Like
Yeah.
kind of just help and move that needle. But yeah, during that transition, there's like, you become what you think about. I discovered Napoleon Hill,
Yeah. Of
Earl
course.
Nightingale,
Think and Grow
Napoleon
Rich. Yeah.
Hill,
Yeah.
Jim Rohn, like all those guys. Eric
Yeah.
Thomas was that hype guy, like
Right.
as bad as you want to breathe, like Eric Thomas's thing,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
it just gets you. But yeah, after I discovered those guys, I kind of looked at them as mentors, like their philosophy
For
and the
sure.
way, especially Napoleon Hill's like, enthusiasm, going the
Uh-huh.
extra mile, like all these things that Napoleon Hill talks about is like, I slowly started to adapt those into my life.
So how
Like
old were
going
you
the
when how old were you when you even found that? Like, let's say the
like
basic stuff.
7, like grade 10, grade
See,
11.
that's wild to me. That
Yeah.
blows me away because I swear I was probably 26, 27, maybe 28 when I first read anything that had to do with consciousness or law of attraction, anything. And that was Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth. And that wasn't even necessarily about manifesting or anything. It was just about awareness and being
Yeah.
present. But that's what started it for me. So I look at you like 15 years earlier and I'm like, really? Like that would have been to me, I'd have been like, this is ridiculous. Like beat it with this
Yeah.
guy. My ego
Well,
was too big.
man, when you're in a spot where you're feeling some sort of way, like
Yeah.
I was gripping my chest, like claw marks on my chest, because I just felt so much pain,
Yeah.
and I didn't understand like at all, like where it was, like where it was coming from. What, like, I didn't even know or even ask the question, like, was it acceptance? Was it abandonment? Was it not feeling in place? Was it,
Right.
a breakup with a girl or what?
Sure.
Like, I didn't understand even to ask those questions. It was just like, I'm fucked. Like I'm hurting,
Yeah.
and to anything is like, you want help, right? Like you don't want to feel that way all the time, right? And so
No.
it's like, yeah,
I found alcohol, so that was easy at that age.
and you know what, that clicked early in me, that it was like, kids in foster care at my age, if they get into drugs and alcohol, this is the life.
Right.
Right? Like I
Okay.
saw that and I was just like, it's not attractive.
Yeah.
Like it's just not something that I want in my life. Like the homelessness or the
Right.
way that they dress, the
Right.
relationships that they had, the way
Right.
they talked, the way
Right.
they walked, everything. I was just like, I don't want that. Like I don't want to
Oh,
be a part of that.
yeah. It was opposite. I lived in a small town where everybody did it. It was a part of the
Mhm.
culture. And it was like the first time I got drunk, I was 14. And I remember obviously I probably had like 4 or 5 drinks, but I remember throwing up that night, telling my dad I had the flu. I came home from a party or something. I can't remember. But ever since that day, it was like, that's what we did every weekend. And because it
Yeah.
gave me a sense of like, not only belonging, but being so free from my mind,
Yeah.
I could be like fucking anything. So
It's getting away, right?
yeah,
Like, and that's what I saw, like, is like, if you use it as a crutch, you're supplementing the symptom, you're not solving the problem,
well, there
right?
was none
And
of
I
that thought process at the time.
right,
None,
but like
none.
in my head, I was like, if you do those things, if you take part in those things, like you will achieve this, right? It was very binary for me. It was just like
Right,
drugs and alcohol is like, you're gonna receive this. Like it was just like very binary. It was like
right,
I didn't dig as deep as I do now. Like understanding is like, if I just drank alcohol every time I felt depressed, I'd be able to get away from the emotions, away from the
right.
thought process.
There was none
I
of
would
that.
enjoy myself. I'd be able to fuck around with the boys, like whatever,
Yeah,
right? But yeah, like just thinking about going through all that, and like you become what you think about, and all those philosophies, not by Napoleon Hill. It's just like thinking about all that shit in my head constantly, like just seeing, like watching that movie, like that video over and over and over again,
wow.
like, and just constantly wanting to be out of pain, And knowing that it was like, it was a bottle away or it was a joint away, but
Sure.
knowing that it was like, I'm going to stick this through, like, I'm going to battle it. I'm going to try and figure it out. Cause it's like, not only do I not understand what the hell I'm going through, but I can't justify drinking and smoking to get away from it right now.
Mm.
It's like, I don't think it's extreme enough or worth it to me. It was like, I saw my buddy doing it
Yeah.
and it didn't look pretty,
Sure.
you know?
And it's funny because I didn't go into it thinking like I'm running from anything. I didn't go into it
Yeah.
thinking I was hiding anything. I didn't go into it thinking I was masking anything. There wasn't like, I need alcohol to feel better. It was just like,
Yeah.
I fucking love this. This is
Yeah.
way better than reality. So at one
Right.
point in my life, like, 21, 22, maybe no, 18 to 22, those 3 to 4 days a week, I'm going to the bar. Like I'm got a good enough job to support me that I pay my car payment, and the rest
Yeah.
goes to bar, clubs,
Yeah.
and McDonald's at 4 a.m. Like that basically was it. And then all my
Yeah.
friends were the same. So it wasn't like I felt like a degenerate or I felt like, and I don't think I was just going through whatever, but everybody was doing the same thing. So it was my environment. And now I realize like how much was rooted in my trauma.
Yeah.
It makes sense now because I'm aware of all of it. But at the time, it was all subconscious. It was all deep,
Yeah.
deep, buried down.
Yeah.
And then it moved to sex and it moved to girls. Like
Yeah.
it went from
I hear you.
alcohol. This is something I haven't touched on much. And it went to women. And it was like,
Yeah.
okay, now I can find this with them.
Yeah.
So I'll just go to the gym. I'll work out. I'll look really good. I'll go to the bar. I'll hook up with someone. Holy shit. Fuck. I feel good. I feel wanted. I feel worthy.
The serotonin, the dopamine,
Oh,
the adrenaline, the everything. Yeah. It's a concoction of
Thursday,
just like
Friday, Saturday.
addiction.
Yeah, man. Like, whew, that's a tough one. Oh, that's a tough one. That's a tough chest and
Yeah.
one to open up about.
Yeah.
But that was one that was.
I got there
Man.
too, man. After high school is like, you get that lust hungry, you're dealing with a lot of emotions, don't have the emotional intelligence to fully
Yeah.
understand, but I mean, you're also just lust hungry,
Yeah.
like you're chasing that adrenaline, you're chasing that dopamine and serotonin. It's like, you get that mentality, grass is greener, so F this relationship. It doesn't have to be this hard. It shouldn't, if we're getting into arguments, maybe we're just not meant to be together. Oh, she's really pretty. Like, yeah, we're not going to work. Like, it's just like, just an absolute
Yeah.
clusterfuck.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like, absolutely. And
Yeah.
it blows my mind. Like, well, we talked a little bit about how far we've come, right? Like,
Yeah.
like I'm so proud of how far I've come, and I know you're proud of how far you've come, and I'm proud of you too, man. Like,
Thanks, dude.
yeah, man. Like it really it feels really good to have another guy on the show and to be able to be open like that. Not just guys, but there's something like we talked about this. There's not enough men, I don't think, who feel safe enough to open up. It's not always fucking easy,
No.
you know. And so I'm honored that you feel safe enough to share with me and then share with everybody else. Because man, those led to some really dark fucking times for me.
Yeah.
All that stuff. But again, when you can find the beauty in all of it and the gratitude and the steps and the lessons and the stuff you had to go through, you realize it was kind of all worth it, You had to get there to get.
Yeah, that's what I was saying at the beginning. It's like, man, I look at my past as lessons learned. It's formed me who I am today, and I'm proud. Like you say, like I'm proud of who I am today. I'm proud of how far I've come, the work I continue to put in, like everything that makes me who I am today is like, I had to go through it, right? I don't think I would be anywhere remotely close to where I was today unless I went through a lot of shit that I did,
Yeah.
like, and that's why I say, like, I've made peace with it. Clearly a few trauma things still hit me pretty hard, but
Yeah.
it's still realizing and understanding where those things are in your past that still are affecting your future and who you are presently.
Yeah,
Right.
there's
That's
yeah,
where the work is. That's where the work is done. That's where that transition and development and all that stuff takes place. Cause it's like, if you can't go in and understand your story and understand your past, and understand all those traumas and dig through them deeply and
yeah,
figure out how they're affecting you today, you'll never take that change. You'll never develop. Like
no,
my sister had to go real deep to figure out her eating problem, and like she would try and like hoard food and like hide while she was eating because she felt
yeah,
ashamed, like
of course, the
just
shame,
wild stuff that
yeah.
you just never even think about. This like, why am I feeling this way? Like, what?
Oh, dude,
Where
it's
did this come from?
yeah, like it's one, yeah. Oh man, like it's hitting me harder than ever with this new stuff surfacing for me. I've done so much work, and I know you've done so much work, and I think we all on this journey of trying to heal or expand and be our best. You know, we get through, we break through these huge moments or these levels, and we're like, okay, sweet, and then just around the corner is something else to like uppercut you in the chin. But I talked about this not long ago. It's like, well, it's because now we're ready for that level of it, that
Yeah.
layer of it. You know, I don't think it ever gets easy. I think it gets easier because, you know, they're going to be the major stuff you got to make peace
Yeah.
with. And then, you know, same as you, like seeing the emotion come up today from you,
Yeah.
man, same with me. Like I've done some major work on a few things, big
Yeah.
moments in my life. But they come around, they rear their head once in a while, and I break the fuck down.
Well, and I feel like, when people say it gets easier is in its essence true, but
Yeah,
the only reason it gets easier is because your capacity grows,
yeah,
your
yeah,
development
yeah,
and how you understand the awareness and
yeah,
all of that develops, which makes
yeah,
understanding and processing those
yeah,
scenarios and trauma
yeah.
a little bit easier, a little bit
Agreed.
better every time, because you're growing, you're developing in those areas so strongly that when you're going through that shit, it's like it does get a little bit easier, but it's because you've done that work.
Yeah. The, with the stuff coming up lately, I've said to a few friends who I haven't shared much about it, but to the ones that I have shared it with, I said, you know what, if this would have came up at the same time as my other shit, as my first kind of dark night of the soul, 2015, 2016, if this would have been, if I'd have been aware of this piece,
Hmm.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I was
Yeah.
close enough to ending it. Like I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine what that would
Taking
have
on
felt
that.
like.
Yeah.
But there's no mistake. Like, you know, you could call it God, you could call it your angels, you can call it universe. It's all divinely planned, in my opinion. Like I feel
Yeah.
like you had to get to this point to face this. It's
Yeah.
like this, you know, it's this next piece of it. And but I don't know. Like I'm sure I would have made it through, but I know that it wasn't designed that way, and I had to get to this point and be this solid and have these skills and this awareness to be
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, this is heavy, but I'm stronger and I'm more aligned than I've ever been. So let's fucking go. You know,
Now
let's
let's take
go.
on the next battle. Let's take
Let's
on the
go.
next trauma.
Let's
Yeah.
go. And yeah,
But
and
as you grow in that awareness too, right? Like you start finding more stuff,
yeah,
right? And that's kind of where you got, I'm sure, is like you get to a point where you have more awareness to understand maybe a certain habit that you have rooted from something in your
oh
past,
yeah, oh
or
dude,
the
yeah,
way that you see things, or the way that your perspective has changed over the last year or 2 years. And why it's changed is because an event happened or something happened in your
yeah.
past that has learnt you and like
Oh,
ingrained in you, into your
huge.
being and the fabrics of who you are, has just established its place in you. And you had to go in and fight that battle and figure out where that was and what was going on,
Brother.
so that you could change that perspective and
Yeah.
change that and develop for yourself in that area.
You couldn't have said it any better because the things that I'm connecting dots with now, and I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, the
Yeah.
shame, the shame, the shame is one of those things, dude. You want to rip joy from your life,
Yeah.
sit in the shame.
Yeah.
whatever it is from. I don't care what it's from.
Yeah.
It
It's
should be,
there.
if it's there, there's nothing that rips joy away from me like shame.
Yeah.
And that's what I felt so much of for my whole life in certain aspects. And I'm like, oh, okay, I see this now and I get
Yeah.
it. And I don't have all the answers, but I get it now. And you just start to put pieces together, and
Yeah.
you're not going to get them all at once. But man, that you said it about your sister. Like when you said shame, I was like, whew.
Yeah.
And it's nasty. That one's nasty.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Definitely a hard one for sure.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, but yeah, you start to see the behaviors, the habits, the cycles, and you
Yeah.
go, oh well, this kind of makes sense now. And
Yeah.
and it's almost comical, but it's like, man, my subconscious was so good at protecting me. I went 30 years without even having a clue about
Yeah.
this.
Right.
And what you said, it's the excuse me, it's the skills and stuff, because what had happened for me is I started to get little pieces of the memories start coming through in meditation.
Mm.
So if I wouldn't be meditating or finding that inner space, whatever
Yep.
way, yoga or meditating, whatever it is, if I wouldn't be meditating, maybe that wouldn't have come through. Maybe I wouldn't have found that little piece, because there was a little piece that came up 8-9 months ago. And I'm like, well, this is kind of weird. Doesn't
Yeah.
resonate. I'm like, it must be just my mind. Go back
Yeah.
in, 3 weeks later, boom, it pops in again. I'm like, And
Maybe
with
there's
that,
there.
yeah. And then with that, there's a knowing that there's something here, but I'm still kind of pushing it away. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, keep going. Again, boom, there it is again. I'm like, shit. I'm like, okay. And then I get to Costa Rica in October, and I go it's raining on the tin roof in our Airbnb. And it's just a perfect, like, I love the sound of rain on a tin
Oh,
roof.
me too, man. It's
So
bliss.
oh, dude. So I sit in my chair and I'm like, I'm going deep. And I remember saying, I've set my intention to just go, just for my
Yeah.
soul to take me.
Let it
And
flow.
and I get into this deep, deep meditation. Woof, and I just start seeing different pieces of this. And I'm like, oh, fuck, it's real.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay. And I just knew I got out of it. I'm like, I'm ready. Oh,
I
brother.
know the feeling. That's why I was like,
Yeah,
just like
dude.
the recall for me is like
Like,
goosebumps instantly.
like that. I'll never
Yeah.
forget that meditation, the rain falling, pouring, and just a perfect way to just be present was just focusing on the rain. And I just going deep into this meditation, and then little other pieces of the same thing start to fall into place like a puzzle. And I'm like, fuck. Because
Yeah.
you don't want to believe it, right?
It's scary. It's uncomfortable.
Yeah,
The fear
man.
drops in. It's like all you get into that fight or flight response. It's like, I'm
Whoa.
here to survive, not dive in deeper into shit. Like, what is going on? Like, I
Yeah,
don't
man.
want to dig through that. What are
Yeah.
you doing?
Well,
Yeah.
I've done enough. Like let's just take a
Yeah.
break. We're
Tap
good for
out.
now. We're gonna tap
Yeah.
over a little bit. We're gonna take a couple years off. We'll get
Yeah.
back to this. Let's go back to abundance and manifesting, and then we'll put this shit away. Put it off to the side.
Just distract me. Just
Yeah, just distract me. Fuck. Yeah, so it's true though, man. You nailed it. It's because of the work we've done. It's because of the awareness. It's because of the moving through the shit to get to the other level and the other side. And I know because of it, I'll be able to serve better.
Yeah.
That's, I think
Amen.
you and I both feel that, right?
Absolutely.
As much as it's building businesses and abundance, it's also about sharing and serving as best as we can.
Yeah. And that's why I like, with where I am today is like, I'm at a point now where I understand a lot of where I've been and where I'm going now. And I want to turn around and help people because it's like,
Well,
I
you are.
know what it took to
Yeah.
get me to where I am today.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy with the work that I have done and where I am today. So it's like, why wouldn't I turn around and lend a hand?
100%.
Right? Like if you're struggling, if you're having a hard time, if you're, going through it, like shoot me a message, man. I'm there. Like phone, text, anything.
Yeah,
like
man.
it's like, and I try to put that out there because it's like, I spend a lot of my time on, these Facebook groups of men's mental health and like all
Yeah.
this stuff. And I pour into a lot of these guys. I end up having phone calls with people in Australia and Europe
Yeah.
and like all these places, because it's like,
Yeah.
not only does it help me because I'm able to understand more of what people are going through,
Yeah.
but it gives me a sense of like happiness, because it's like, I'm able to help you achieve something that you didn't think was possible, or that you didn't think that was even on the roster for you,
Yeah.
and
Well,
giving that hope and giving that understanding and just being like, it's out there for you, and here, like, I'm presenting it, and it's like, yeah.
dude, I think for me anyway, I don't know if this resonates with you. Like you do so much work and you move, um, you go so far into it in your healing and your work, you forget how big it can be just to have a chat and give someone the basics. Like what
Mm,
looks to you like simple stuff now
yeah. Amen.
to someone in the shit can
Yeah.
be life changing.
Everything.
So, right? So I forget about that sometimes and I
Yeah.
almost devalue what I have to offer.
Yeah. I
Okay.
hear you.
So someone might reach out and be like, look, dude, your video hit me this way. And I'm like, really? I'm like, that
Yeah.
I just said this. And like to me, it's like, but then I
Just
have a
another
chat with
thing.
them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I have a chat on Instagram Messenger with them, send them a quick, two-minute or 1-minute voice messages.
Yeah.
And what they return with is like, you have no idea what that did to me. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like, it's just
I
wow.
literally just had that happen the other day. A gentleman that I was talking to was having a tough time with like his confidence and self-esteem and all this
Yeah.
stuff, and becoming more of an extroverted self in his
Yeah.
career and so on. And just having a decent chat with him on Facebook Messenger, messages me the next night, and he's like, my wife just said to me that she sees change in me, that she sees something's happening,
Yeah,
and she
dude.
likes it. And I was like,
Yeah. There's
that's what
nothing
we
like,
want, man. Like,
yeah, there's
that's
nothing like it.
everything.
There's nothing
Yeah.
like it, man. There's nothing like,
Yeah.
obviously it feels good to hear that you did something for someone, but to see people move through the muck and then start to thrive and see their, as
Yeah.
cliche as it is, their power, right? Because you
Yeah.
start to remember, holy
Absolutely.
fuck, I'm not what happened. I'm not what I did. I'm not any of these things. And
Yeah.
you see it happen in front of you, or you get a message saying like, look, this is where I am now. Like this is where I was. And I'm just like, oh my God, like my heart just fucking explodes.
Yeah. My high is like, if I can help somebody achieve something that they've set out to do, like that is like everything to me. Like if you give me a goal, like you're like, I want to achieve this, I'm
Yeah.
like, let's make it happen. And they achieve that, I'm just like bliss, like just like everything
Yeah,
to me.
man.
Yeah.
Wow. Man,
I feel that.
because I just remember how those little things, like I say this all the time. Take a look back.
Yeah.
People say you're not going that way, don't look that way. Bullshit. Sometimes you got to just take a peek. Take a fucking peek, dude. Like, look at how far you've come in this year, 2 years,
Yeah.
3, 4. It doesn't matter. You've
Yeah.
made massive strides. And
Yeah.
I was telling someone today, same thing. I'm like, you know what? The resilience I've shown over the last 4 years of my life, the faith that I've fucking stepped into,
Mhm.
I'm proud of myself.
Yeah.
At one point, I wouldn't say that. I would never say it out here, but I'm
I
fucking
know.
proud of myself, man.
It's just like you almost feel cocky, and then it feels
Yeah,
dirty
right.
and stuff, but it's
But
like you have to,
you
right? You
have
have
to.
to get into that. Yeah.
I'm so
I look
proud.
at I look at it as fuel. It's like when you can look back and see your achievements, see how far you've come, see what you've done. It's like it's fuel to keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, brother, I'm super proud of you, and I'm super honored to have you on my show. Well, I got choked up there a little bit, but thanks for being so open and raw with us and going there, because I know that couldn't have been easy. I have a few questions left for you, two last ones. If you, I mean, you've already been super freaking vulnerable with us, but if there's something else in your life that you could share with us, something else you could be vulnerable with that maybe you haven't shared with anybody yet, or maybe you're being pushed to share. Is there anything else that you could share with everybody here?
That's a good question. I'll be honest with you, I've probably shared the deepest, most vulnerable thing with you
Yeah.
already. And I've never shared that with anybody
Wow,
to
man.
that
I'm
level,
honored.
right? Um, yeah,
We can stay right there, man. Like
yeah,
you
I
went
don't
to
know,
the,
dude.
yeah,
Like,
no, that's
there's,
perfect.
I've gone through a lot of shit, and as much as, like you say, to me, it's just another thing, but to somebody
Right.
else, it could be everything, you know? And my vulnerability, or the things that I went through, is like, it's just a roadmap to where I am today. Um, yeah, it's hard to, I'm not sure, man. I
Okay,
don't
so
think I do.
let's do this instead. If you know anybody else struggling, kind of going through something similar as what you went through, whether it's foster care
Yeah.
and your story, anything, just in the shit, what would you say? Like what is something you would tell them to kind of get them moving in a different direction or help them feel?
Um, you know what? It's catered to each person, but as a general blanket, I think you have way more capacity and the ability to change so much of your life that you don't even understand yet. Like,
Agreed.
the only reason you are where you are today is because of what you know. And if you are stuck and you are struggling, it's because you don't know or understand the right things to get you where you want to go. So you need to either read, listen to
Yeah.
podcasts, seek out a mentor. You
Yeah.
need to find the information to get you where you want to go. That is the only way out of your shit. That is the only
Yeah.
way out of your crap, your
Yeah.
your struggle, is more obtainment of knowledge, understanding, and help. Therapy,
Yeah.
help from a coach,
Right. Right.
somebody.
Yeah, brother.
You got to be able to ask for help.
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge. That's huge. Thank you, brother. That's massive. One more question.
Yeah, dude.
What is it? So my final question with everyone is, what does it mean to be truly alive for you? Like, to be alive for you, what does that really mean?
Vocation, I think, is definitely it's a struggle to understand and find, but if you can find your vocation, I think that's where things really start to, where the tires meet the road, kind of idea, is
Mm,
like where you really start to take off in life, is where you find where your passion lies,
yeah.
right? And to feel fully alive, I think, is to have a balance of mental and physical health, a healthy relationship with your spouse and your friends,
Yeah.
to the point where you've surrounded yourself with people that lift you up. They don't tear you down,
Yeah.
right? People that help you achieve things in areas in your life, right? People that can turn around and lend you a hand if you need it. And I think if you're waking up consistently every day and you're wondering what day it is, or like dreading Monday or looking forward to the weekend, you're not alive.
Yeah.
You're not living a life. Like, if you're spending your weekends getting away from the life that you have, you are not living alive.
Couldn't agree more, man. Couldn't
Yeah.
agree more. Yeah. I love it. Thank you, man. That was a lot of fun. Again, thanks for being so open and sharing that
Yeah,
with
man.
us.
I
Cool.
appreciate you having me on. And I hope in the future that we can do this again, maybe
Yeah.
on some more intense topics than
Yeah.
just
We'll
the story.
we'll keep diving in.
Oh yeah.
I know you have a lot to offer when it comes to your knowledge that you've gained and the wisdom and just the experiences that you've had over the last, as you moved from, you're a master electrician and a business owner and your other, your dreams and aspirations. I know we can touch on a ton of stuff when it comes to mindset and goal setting and everything else in between. So we'll definitely have you on again, brother.
All right, dude.
All right. So thanks everybody. We'll
Okay.
see you again next Wednesday, and call and just hang out. We'll just end this. See you all later.